stop scrolling right now. Let me tell you something. You are not tired because you are busy. You are tired because you are an unpaid therapist. Let me say it again. You are not tired because you are busy, because you're doing things. No, 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 no. You are tired because you are an unpaid therapist. Facts. Here's what's going on with you is that you're busy placing other people's problems, dealing with other people's pressure, but you're too busy to deal with your own. My name is Coach Sheree. And what is it that I do? Well, I'm a women's empowerment and relationship coach. And my job is to help women discover their purpose, crystallize their vision, and disrupt those relationship patterns that threaten your calling, your legacy, your success, and your life. And in my work with women, you know what I've discovered, ladies, is that so many of us are so busy trying to fix everyone else that we really don't take the time for ourselves. So I want you to grab a pen, grab a notebook, grab your notes, because you are not going to want to miss what I have to tell you today. So if you're watching this, it's because you know that you are silently being sabotaged. I'm going to say it again. You are silently being sabotaged. And it's because of these three habits. And if you knew that these three habits were stopping you, you'd say, man, Sheree, what is it that I need to do? Well, we can all stop these habits from silently sabotaging our calling, our legacy, our success in our life. So the very first habit, and girl, I hope you have a pen, because if you don't have one, you're going to want to get one, is you need to eliminate your need to fix people. Let me say it again. Eliminate your need to fix people. Have you ever found yourself saying, oh, I know just what they need. I know just what would help. I know just how to fix that. You are Mrs. Fixer-Upper. The only problem is you feel tired and you feel stuck. Well, I found myself in the very same situation, and it was with a family relationship, because this is what I do. I help women with their relationships. And what happened is I had this family member that was in a lot of distress. They were overwhelmed, and they were just filled with anxiety. So guess what I did? I talked with some other family members, and we all decided that what this person really needed, because she was angry and frustrated and stuck, is that she really needed to see a therapist. So guess what I did? I researched therapists. I looked up therapists. I found all the therapists. But here was the problem. She did not ask for my opinion, and she didn't ask for my help. So after we had this intervention, what I found out was that, you know what? You cannot make someone do something that they are not willing to do. You see, the truth was that I was so uncomfortable with her distress that I felt like I needed to be her savior instead of just being a person who could hold space for her. And here's the truth, is that we cannot fix people. You know, I believe this as a coach. We are not called to fix people. Fixing is for objects. So we don't fix people, we really discover people. And when it all comes down to it, how comfortable can you be with someone else's distress? You don't have to rush in and save them. Sometimes you just need to hold space for them. Because when you try to be the savior to the world, you end up getting stuck in your own self. So this brings me to my second point that's really sabotaging you as this high-powered, incredible, go-getter kind of woman. And here's what it is that your story is completely enmeshed with someone else's story. I'm going to say it again. Your story is completely enmeshed with someone else's story. Have you ever found yourself at work, or maybe just driving down the road, or perhaps you were even shopping and you thought, I just can't concentrate. I can't believe that they're going to make this decision. I'm so frustrated. If only they would just... And then there it is. Your clarity, your peace, your power, it's all been hijacked. Because you are so involved in somebody else's story that guess what? You're not living your story. Now, don't think I'm picking on you. I'm actually preaching to me, because this is what I found myself doing. I found myself doing this with my own adult kids. So if you have kids, or maybe you don't have kids, I'm 100% that you'll relate to this. But what I did was I found myself being worried about their choices, their decisions, what they were going to do, their mistakes, their success. And I was so consumed with what they were doing that I was completely distracted with what I was doing. Now, am I saying that we are not supposed to pay attention to members of our family? We're not supposed to pay attention to our friends? We're not supposed to pay attention to our kids? Of course not. That's not motherhood. That's neglect. But what I am saying is that sometimes we can be so wrapped in somebody else's outcome that we're really not paying attention to our own outcome. What happens is when someone else controls your narrative, it doesn't make you powerful. It makes you a puppet. When someone else's story is controlling your narrative, you are so consumed on what they're doing. Guess what? You never become focused on what it is that you're supposed to be doing. And don't think that you are being concerned, really, when that's the guise of you trying to be in control. I tell people who are people pleasers, I say this and they don't like it, but hopefully it'll resonate with you. And if you don't like it, it's just like a cat. Like you turn the cat on the other side and you rub it and it's fine. But here's the truth. A lot of people who are people pleasers, really what you're trying to do is you're trying to control someone. Think about it. Think about you trying to please the internal state of another. Really? You're trying to control the internal state of another. So I'm going to help them. I'm going to do this for them. You're not keeping peace. Okay? You're not keeping peace. You're actually thwarting peace because you're really in distress over someone else's distress. And that's really trying to control them. So what was the point of this entire point was you cannot control someone else's story. You have to make a decision in your mind and in your thoughts to live your own story. So what were the first 2 points I talked to you about? Is number one, you cannot fix people. Number two, you can't allow your story to be completely enmeshed in someone else's story. And then the final point that I want to talk to you about today is this, is that what is silently sabotaging you is that you're overdeveloping everyone else. And guess what? You're being distracted from yourself. I'm going to say it again. You are overdeveloping everyone else. And then what happens is it leads to distraction with your own soul and with your own self. Now, this is my stuff. This is my point because I love women and I see this in women who are high functioning women. They're the get it done kind of girl and they're so enmeshed in people's stories. And really when it comes down to it, they become disconnected from their own selves. So have you ever found yourself saying these things? I feel so disconnected. Like, where is my energy? What is my life doing? What is it that I even want? If you have found yourself circling around that mountain, not really knowing what's going on with you, then more than likely you have overdeveloped other people and you have not developed you, the woman who's really important. I always say this, you are called to be a woman. You are not a resource. Let me say it again. You are called to be a woman, not a resource. Yes, you may be a mother, but you're a woman. You're not a resource. Yes, you may own your own business, but you're a woman and you're not a resource. Because when you're over-resourcing others, you never learn to resource yourself. And that leads to what so many women, especially those of us who are over 40, aging is hard, my goodness. I don't know about you girls, but I feel like it takes a lot to put myself together in the morning. But one of the things I've learned as a woman who's over 40 is that I really disconnected from my own self because I was so busy trying to keep the peace that I had no internal peace. So my story actually doesn't begin with the emotional abuse that I've been through as a young woman or being in a domestic abusive environment or dealing with just a lot of pain in my life. My story actually begins about 7 years ago when my son was diagnosed with special needs. And I remember, what is it that my life is? Is this it? Is all I am is a resource? Is all I am is a helper in my organization? All I'm good for is solving other people's problems, but I can't even seem to manage my own? And what I learned from that really difficult experience was that I had disconnected myself and I had found my value and my worth in the outcomes of everyone else. And so this is why I do the things that I do, is I really try to help women to save them from their own story and to save them from their own selves. And what I noticed is that I was bleeding energy. You know, I want you to think about your life like a battery. You know, you only have so much energy. You have energy for your job. You have energy maybe for your spouse. You have energy for your kids. But how is it that you're going to have energy for yourself when you're managing everyone else's energy? How is it that you're ever going to be good to everyone else if you're actually no good and you're disconnected from yourself? So I hope that these 3 habits will help you and silence that sabotage that so many women do. So let's just review what these habits were. And I just want to tell you something. When I work with women and they come to the power experience, I really help them to get very clear on what their purpose is. And what I found is that usually it's not the woman who's going to stop her purpose. It's usually the relationships in her life that are going to hinder her purpose. So if you don't learn how to manage your relationships in life, then guess what? It's going to be a really difficult life. So the 3 habits that will silently sabotage your life are, number 1, is you've got to eliminate that need for fixing people. You know, I just simply believe this is that we cannot fix people. We can only fix objects. The people in your life are meant not to be fixed, but they're meant to be discovered. Number 2 is you have to learn how to stop allowing yourself to be enmeshed in someone else's story. Your worth and your value, it's not in everyone else's outcome. Give me a break. We are barely trying to control ourselves, and now we're going to try to control someone else's life. That doesn't make sense. So your life narrative, it can't be in someone else's narrative. And remember what I said, I was so busy ghostwriting my kid's story that I really wasn't writing my story. And then the final point that I really want you to know is that you cannot, oh, there goes my phone, but it's all good. You cannot overdevelop other people and then underdevelop yourself. Because when you do that, you become distracted from yourself. You become disconnected from yourself. And at the end of the day, you're going to be very displeased with yourself. So listen, I've given you all the things to stop the sabotage. I love you. I believe in you. Stop the sabotage. Go out. Take action on your life. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on YouTube. I'm believing the best for you, girl. Take action, and here's to your success. I'll see you soon.